right, here we go. Here comes the Aaron Judge sweepstakes. We're starting to get numbers. We're starting to hear things. It sounds like 8 years, $300 million, where the Yankees are at right now. That's $37.5 million per year. That will make them the highest paid position player in the history of baseball. I still don't think it's enough.
I don't think it's enough either. I think the San Francisco Giants are going to go further than that. Maybe even years and AAV, and I think that the Yankees are going to either have a chance to match that or not, depending on how much Aaron Judge wants to be a Yankee. I mean, that to me is exactly how it's going to go. You know, this was the Yankees' initial offer, which I think should have been stronger. You know, we talked about, and I don't want to, just invoke the Mets all the time. But we talked about how Steve Cohen didn't even let Edwin Diaz get to free agency. He paid him a ton of money. This is a guy who could have gone out there, maybe even gotten bigger offers. But Steve Cohen's like, no, not going to happen. We are paying you. We're going to make you the highest paid reliever. That is the end of it. There was no free agent visits, nothing. And the Yankees came in with this offer, which is obviously a lot larger than what they did before the season.
Oh, big.
But it's not that offer that's going to make him say, okay, let's end this thing, slap the captaincy on me, and I'm going to be a Yankee for the rest of my career. That's not what this deal is. I mean, $37.5 million is a lot of money, but we're thinking if you want to get it done, it's got to be more than that.
All right, so you got to understand the Giants bring in the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry. And where Steph Curry lives out there in San Francisco is a absolutely beautiful, gorgeous area. And I'm sure that Aaron Judge
one of the few people in San Francisco that have homes.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Aaron Judge saw all that and got the right kind of treatment from the Giants. And the Giants have plenty of room to offer him more money if they want. And they can. To me, it comes down how do they structure the contract. And how much money will they give him up front to avoid the California state taxes?
Yeah, for once, New York is actually a benefit when it comes to the tax stuff.
Yeah, about 3.5% at his level. But still, like Mookie Betts got a huge contract from the Dodgers. I do believe that Mookie Betts lives in Nashville, Tennessee, in the offseason, and the Dodgers gave him a huge signing bonus. And that signing bonus gets tied to his, state residency in Tennessee, which there is no state tax. So the Giants are going to have to do something here that I think is going to have to be unprecedented, and they're going to have to offer him enough money to keep him from coming to the Yankees. I mean, this Yankee offer to me, the fact that the Yankees keep playing this game about AAV and where he is, this is what they tried to do at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And this is what kind of irked Aaron Judge and his group. Like, why are you talking about this? You offered me $213, now you're offering me $300. And they're trying to make up for the money that they didn't pay him for his 62 home run season. So I think it's a good, solid offer. I think it's a fair offer at the moment, but I think it's a beginning offer. And right now, if he accepts this offer, he's already done what he needs to do for the MLBPA, and that he's raised the AAV level by $2 million per year over Mike Trout, which is good.
Yeah.
But if I'm him, I want to hear everything that San Francisco has to offer. I want to hear everything if LA decides to get involved, the Dodgers, what they have to offer. And then there's a question of whether or not there's another team out there that's looking at this and realizing in the first 2 to 3 years of Aaron Judge's new contract, they'll be more than happy to pay that money and even more money because they'll be able to sell more season tickets. They'll be able to sell more sponsorships. Everything goes up when you get a player like that in your lineup.
And we've seen lots of teams that need a guy, whether it's from the Yankee perspective where you got to keep the guy or another team that needs to change the perception of the organization, go with these long, ridiculous deals that they know they're going to be eating bad money at the end of these contracts to get the guy right now. So if the Giants come in, this is the way I think it will play out, that the Giants will come in with something like 10 years, $400 million. And they're not going to care about Aaron Judge at 40 and 41. They're going to care about Aaron Judge 31 to 36.
And what is the structure of the contract?
Yeah, is it going to be some deferments, things like that?
Yeah, there'll probably be some deferments.
Signing
how
bonuses.
Much money are you going to get up front?
Right, signing bonuses and all of that.
I would think to mitigate the tax implications of all of this, which is a serious thing. And I've been telling you guys here for 15 years that it's always been a serious thing. But when you're getting up to these numbers like this, it becomes even that much more significant with the way that the contract's written. And where I think his state of residence, is Florida, I believe.
It is.
All right. So if San Francisco says we're going to give you an unprecedented signing bonus of $100 million, you can't turn that down.
No, you absolutely can't. And that's something that I don't know if the Yankees would be willing to match. So, like I said, I think it comes down to the Giants are going to make a better offer than the Yankees. Aaron Judge is going to have to go back to the Yankees, and one of two things will happen. The Yankees will either match or get as close to what the Giants are doing, and Aaron Judge will say, great, I want to be a Yankee, or Aaron Judge will take a little bit of a lesser deal to be a Yankee, which I don't think will happen at this point.
And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
So he's up at these numbers now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this is where the fans start looking differently at players.
Oh, yeah.
This is no longer the kid that you developed and everybody's happy. This is a player now that is going to have to recreate the last year for the next 5 years, or he's going to get his ass booed, especially here. If he goes somewhere else, it's not going to be nearly, I think, as bad, especially if he goes to like San Francisco and he decides that, okay, I'm going to be a Giant, I'm going home, and I'm going to help restart this franchise that has got a winning pedigree. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now he comes here, he's making, let's say he settles for between 38 and 40 million here as opposed to 42 million or 40 million out in San Francisco, and one less year to stay here because he wants to be a Yankee. You know what's coming. He goes through 1 8-week slump, 2 months, June, July, and he's striking out, and he's only got 5 home runs during that time. You could imagine how people are going to react to him here.
Well, of course, he was already getting booed prior to these type of numbers. You can only imagine how it's going to be when he does get that contract. And, the Yankees, I think, are relying, and their fans are relying on him desperately wanting to be a Yankee. And we don't know how much that means to him or not. Now, every Yankee fan, as they should, thinks about the history and what it would mean to be in Monument Park and be the captain of the Yankees and all these things to win in New York. And all that's true, but not for everybody. And Aaron Judge could be looking at this thing like, hey, I had this great time with the Yankees at the beginning of my career. Now I've hit free agency, and my dream is to get paid as the top player in baseball in my hometown. That doesn't get better for me.
I also have to say that that's his responsibility, is to get as much money as he can. And you know what? This is his only shot at this. He's not 26 years old.
Right.
He's not 24 years old. This is it. This is his one shot at the trough of mountains of cash, and it's coming his way. And he has every right, as you would or I would or anybody else would, to make the decision that is in the best interest of his family. And it really comes down to dollars and cents. I'm telling you that I think the Giants will have to make a significant offer that will be structured in a way where he can keep more money. That's the way I think the Giants would have to go about it to match the Yankees or blow the Yankees out of the water and pay him a hell of a lot more money. He is lucky that he is a free agent right now, and the Giants are where they are financially.
Yeah, and I think from a Yankee perspective, too, something that's very important when you're judging whether or not him being here is the best thing or not is, are the Yankees just going to completely shut it down in the offseason and start going the frugal route if Aaron Judge accepts their contract offer, or is there room to do some other stuff? I mean, that's what I need to know and want to know. I mean, if you're telling me, if I'm a Yankee fan and I hear that, all right, Aaron Judge is going to sign this contract, and then all of a sudden, that's it. I'm not going to see any more moves. I'm going to see Brian Cashman, doing all these little IKF deals for the rest of time, then that's a problem for me.
It is. I know it's going to be a problem.
Microphone, yeah.
I know it is a problem. It's going to be a problem for you and Yankee fans.
Right.
Hey, man, I don't want to see him go. I want to see him stay. I mean, it's fun covering him.
Oh, he's great.
And it's going to be fun, even more fun, covering him with a new contract and the new ramped up pressure that comes along with that contract. It's going to be interesting if he stays here. It really will be. But I truly wonder how much the booing during the playoffs bothered him, because he'll never say, but other teammates have said.
Yeah, they have. It surprised me how that became such a topic, because we've seen it all. I mean, we've seen the greatest of the great here in New York get booed. I mean, maybe it's just a different era where you don't expect that to happen as much. But to me, it's like, what do we, I mean.
Well, I think what happens, so you have a lot of different media outlets now covering sports, from TMZ to Barstool to us to everybody else in between.
Sure.
You you have all sorts of people with snide remarks and comments that are not Yankee fans, that could be Red Sox fans, that could be Giant fans, could be Met fans, just antagonizing the crap out of that whole situation. So, Barstool, I'm sure, had some sort of, video and probably along with it was a comment like, I can't believe the Yankee fans are doing this to a guy who hit 62 home runs for them. And it kind of exacerbates the whole problem. And then the guys or the people that are covering the Yankees then have to go to him and ask him questions about it. And because it basically now is in the world of social media and everybody's reacting to it.
Yeah, but I think that for the people who have watched baseball in New York and sports in New York, they understand why the Yankee fan was frustrated. And for the outsiders that are looking in and don't get it, well, baseball isn't as important to you as it is to New Yorkers. I'm sorry.
But that's where it percolates. That's where it gets incensed.
But doesn't Aaron Judge understand it? Don't the Yankees understand it?
Do any of these kids understand it? I don't know.
I would. Aaron Judge at least publicly said that he understands it.
Dude, look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson probably, I think, on a national level and I believe on a local level, everybody has been supporting him. Everybody has been saying how great he is, how the Baltimore Ravens should pay him, and going on and on and on and on. And they have a bad game in Jacksonville. They end up losing another double-digit lead. And all of a sudden, he's reacting to some knucklehead on social media.
Yeah.
And then John Harbaugh has got to pull him in, and he's got to talk to him about it. And it just goes to show you the intensity of the social media and what it does to these players. And that's why, a buddy tell me that who works in a locker room in the NFL, this is right after the game, guys are going right to their phones, and they're sitting in their lockers, and they're scrolling through all their stuff.
Of course, just like the Jets were liking all those anti-Zach Wilson tweets. You can't tell me that was a coincidence. It wasn't a coincidence.
It's something I never had to deal with, and I don't know how these coaches deal with, the idiocy of it all.
Yeah.
And even John Harbaugh came out and said, look, he goes, I tell him, stay off of social media, essentially. Stay off of Twitter, especially when you lose. There's nothing to gain by what you put out there. And then there's a reporter at ESPN basically saying that when you read Lamar's tweet back to this fan, there's all this subliminal anti-gay rhetoric or wording in the tweet, and then that becomes a problem.
Yeah, and then Lamar Jackson ended up tweeting back to that guy, Jamison Hensley, I think was his name, saying that was unfair, and that became another layer of this story. It's just nuts.
But that's the point. But that's what all these guys deal with, and I'm sure Aaron Judge will never say anything. He's too classy of a guy, too great of an athlete, too good of a human being to actually get involved in any of that stuff. And that's why I think he tried to downplay all of it during the playoffs when he was getting booed. But that doesn't mean that the general population out there on the social media sewer pit, doesn't have its moment to go after him or exacerbate the problem, which I think was probably a big part of, what went on around all of that with his teammates and, other players on other teams, because they were exacerbating the problem.
Sure.
Oh, I can't believe they're booing Aaron Judge. What are they doing? These fans have no idea what they're talking about. You know how it was.
Yeah, I know. I remember all of it. Trust me, it wasn't that long ago. So, if Aaron Judge ends up having a press conference out in San Francisco with that Giants jersey on, I do believe that would have been a factor for him. A little bit more wind in the sails that got him out there.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.